In my previous Next.js video, we discussed the idea of layouts and how you can use layouts in Next.js, a specific layout file, to share parts of your user interface across several different route segments. So you could create a layout in this dashboard folder, and then this layout here is going to be shared across all the different routes and all the different pages within your dashboard folder. And how you also have this root layout, to where this root layout is going to be some UI here that is shared throughout all of your different pages throughout your application. That's great and all, but Next.js also has this idea of templates. So straight from the Next.js docs here, templates are very similar to layouts, basically the same as layouts, to where they wrap child layouts or pages. But unlike layouts that persist across routes and maintain state, templates create a new instance for each of their children on navigation. Meaning, when a user navigates between routes that share a template, a new instance of the child is mounted, DOM elements created, and state is not preserved in client components. You might specifically want to use a template instead of a layout when you want to resynchronize the use effect on navigation, or to reset the state of child client components on navigation. And those are really the kind of core differences there. Now, a template can be defined the same way that you kind of would do a layout. You just create a template.js or tsx file or jsx file instead of a layout.file. So if we look at our application here, let's show you an example of kind of the actual practical differences of this. In our dashboard layout, we render this navlinks component, and this is a client component where you can see use client here at the top. We use this use path name hook from React to set different kind of background colors for these links. And then also on mount here, we console log mounting, and then we also set the active link right here to whatever the link title is from the path name. So we have this link title state. On mount, we set this little title name here, just for this example, to whatever the end of the path name is. So if we come look at this in our running application, I'm going to open my console like so, and I'm going to clear my console, and I'm going to do a hard refresh on my page of Command-Shift-R. And we see it mounted once. And then if I go back and forth between about and settings here, you see that it's not actually re-console logging mounting, because it's not going to remount and re-render this navlinks component within my dashboard layout here, because it's just a layout.tsx file. So since this navlinks is a child client component, it's not going to remount it on navigation here. But if I change this to a template.tsx file, what you're going to immediately see here, if I come back to my app, I'm going to clear my console and I'm going to do a hard refresh on my page. You're going to see that I get the mounting. I also see it sets my active link here to settings because it's actually remounting this component. And if I shift to about here, it switches my active link to about, and you see it console log mounting again, settings, console logs mounting again, active link settings, about, settings, about. You can see that it's remounting this component and it's recalling the use effect hook here on mount. So that is one of the kind of core differences there between a layout and a template. It is going to effectively remount its children client components on those navigation events. And if I just go back to switching this from a template back to a layout here, so we can just see those changes one more time. And then we come back, let me clear the console. And now let me start switching back. You see that it just stays at the active link of about here because it's not remounting and it's not updating or calling that use effect hook on mount, because it's just staying mounted. The state is remaining preserved, and it's not console logging the mounting because it's not running this use effect hook, because this component is just staying mounted when it's rendered within a layout instead of being rendered within a template. So hopefully that gives you a good kind of more practical example of just the little subtle differences between layouts and templates in Next.js. And just to kind of recap them, templates are effectively layouts in Next.js. You can use them for really the same things. However, for a template, it is going to create a new instance for each of their children on navigation, which is why we were just seeing the behavior that we were just seeing. So for its children, it is going to remount those components, recreate those DOM elements, and state is not going to be preserved and effects are going to be resynchronized. So if you have children client components where on navigation you really want them to resynchronize their effects, use a template. Also, if you want to reset the state of those client components on navigation, use a template. Else, I'm probably going to just default to using a layout. But if it's not giving you the behavior you want and you want to do kind of one of these two things, then using a template might be the solution you go for. So hopefully this video kind of helps clear up the difference between templates and layouts in Next.js. It is pretty subtle, but it can be kind of the solution that you need once you are experiencing an undesirable behavior when using layouts. So thanks for tuning into this, and I'll see you in that next one.